Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. It's Friday morning, November 20th, 2020. Thank you so much for joining me today. If I could just ask you a favor, if you find these videos helpful, if you can click down and subscribe, that would mean the world to me. It shows me that you're getting what you hope out of these videos. And if you have any comments or feedback, something you'd like to see me review, definitely leave a comment down below the video. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So today what we're going to be doing is we're mostly managing winning trades at this point. We have a few new setups. We actually have an interesting lesson that we can use right away. If you watch this morning's Stocks for Breakfast video, where we got into understanding how to use a buy stop order, how to properly use it, when to use it. We actually have a trade setting up today because a stock that we want to buy is opening lower this morning. We're going to walk through setting a buy stop above the market at a key level. And if we get filled, that's going to be where we enter the new trade. So we're going to talk about that in a second. Stock futures are kind of neutral. They're going back and forth right now. I think the market yesterday had a little bit of news in the afternoon, got a big spike, but then just kind of drifted sideways. So other than that one spike, the market itself was neutral. There really wasn't a lot of juice behind the market yesterday. But if you're doing your game planning and you're watching the videos and you're taking it a step further and joining us in the boot camp, there's been a lot of opportunity this week. Yesterday, we nailed BI, LI, and we're hanging on to that as a swing trade. So we're going to set up a few more trades today. But again, I want to get this across very clearly because it's really important, especially if you're new to the market. We're all excited. We can't wait to trade. We want to get in there, and we can't wait to use what we learn, right? That's the whole point, and it's exciting. But one of the biggest things to learn, and this is kind of why I talked about the market today versus stock-specific and industry group ideas, it's not always busy. It's not always, let's go get them with as many shares as we can get. And if you're struggling, that's the difference between seeing your account grow month after month and feeling like it goes up and then goes right back down. It goes down and goes right back up. I've been there in the past, and it's very frustrating. And it really comes down to you need to learn how to recognize when to trade a little bit more aggressively. And aggressively could mean something as little as holding trades longer versus when it's really important to work your orders, get a little bit lower share size on your initial trade and let the market give you feedback. And then instead of aggressively building a position, you kind of ride that position because it's a good idea, but the conditions aren't quite perfect. So it's more of a cash flow situation. So this is really important to understand. And here's why. If you don't recognize when the market conditions change, we call the tape has changed. So you understand reading the tape, you understand when the opportunities are better, you understand the optimal entry, and then you trade with conviction. But then there's certain circumstances where the odds are lower for follow through. And if you don't adjust, if you don't drop your share size, if you're not super disciplined with your stop loss, if you're not super disciplined with your profit taking, you can overtrade. You could trade too heavy, not recognizing the conditions are tougher, and throw a lot of money away just because you don't understand how to recognize when it's really good versus when it's a little tougher. Unfortunately, and I've been there, we learn how to we understand it's tougher after the fact when we lost all that money and we doubt ourselves. We feel like maybe we can't do this. Well, I'm here to tell you can if you learn the right way to trade, which is understanding, again, when to step on the gas and when you're in stop and go traffic. And for the better part of the last 2.5 months, it's kind of been that back and forth, and you really needed to understand how to read order flow. You really needed to understand how to read the tape. If you did, you pulled back and had some pockets of opportunity, and your account has still steadily grown. If you didn't, you're probably pretty frustrated right now. You probably in your mind still have August when it was very easy and you couldn't make a mistake and it was just flying higher. So if you get anything out of these types of videos, I just really encourage you. I'd love for you to do it with me in the boot camp, but if you want to do it on your own, just really learn how to identify the opportunities of when everything is lining up and you should be accepting risk versus when it's a little tougher, and you gotta just be okay with being patient, because you got to preserve your capital in tougher opportunities so that when great opportunities line up, it's easier for your account to grow because you're not making back that money you kind of threw away because you didn't recognize the traffic stop that you was still on the gas. So we're going to get into some ideas today. Again, if you have any questions about this, leave a comment. If you really want to get up and take it to the next level, join me in the boot camp. I mean, click down and learn about it. You'll see the wall of success everybody else is doing in the community. And if you find out it's for you, I'd love to see you on the other side. So we're going to start out with Walmart today. And the reason I say Walmart is we're actually going to use what we call a buy stop order. You can see it's actually trading down at 151 right now. So we're going to actually have a 152 buy stop order at Walmart today. So it needs to trade up to 152. The stop loss for me is going to be 150. And my initial profit target is going to be 160. So we're looking at an initial $8 profit with a $2 risk on the trade. So it's basically a 4-to-1 risk reward. So be very clear on the scenario. Roku is another one that we're going to take a look at today. Yesterday, it exploded and is now sitting at new, let's take a look, new all-time high. So that's very exciting, right? So what is the trade right now? So the opposite of what we just discussed in the Walmart trade where we have very defined risk with profit potential. Now we're in uncharted territories where it's kind of off the charts, literally, right? So how do you manage risk here? How do you set a profit potential? How do you set a profit target? This is one of those scenarios where we've seen a lot of new members prior to learning about tape reading and order flow. They're jumping in at all-time highs. They're seeing the stock pull back. They get stopped out, and then the stock just takes off again and does exactly what they thought. So when it's hard to manage risk, when the stock yesterday went over $20, if I'm not mistaken, $23, almost $24, it's hard to manage the downside. I understand we're excited. I understand we want to get involved, but the downside is what we have to manage first. So we're around long enough to understand how to make money. So if you're going to enter Roku at all-time highs right now, because of everything I just explained, higher risk amount, new all-time highs, hard to set a profit target, this type of entry must be on lower initial share size so that you preserve your capital in case the all-time highs don't follow through. If it does, you get feedback that the smart money's stepping up and punching it through, and then you can start to work the order as it moves in your favor. So right there, a good lesson on trade management. Space is one that we actually mentioned earlier in the week. We still like the trade. If you look at the charts, we've actually had profit targets around 27 to 28 this year every time we've been trading it. I actually believe this time the news is a little stronger. I think it's going to actually follow through this time. We actually had a swing trade that we started earlier in the week, and now we're looking for it to get through. We're not going to do anything adding to the position until it takes out those levels. Then we see at least 40 as the next level higher than that. Target is another one that actually kind of creeped higher into new levels yesterday, very similar to what we just discussed. Now you can see here clearly 168 is the prior breakout level, and we kind of peeked through that. We actually punched through it. Now we're above that by almost $4. So now again, you have to have in your mind, if I'm going to be risking $4 on this trade, which is the proper stop loss back into where it came out from on any breakout, what is the proper share size and what is the profit target? So you need to kind of reverse engineer what you need to make on the trade. You need to say, what are the odds of me making that? And then what's the proper risk? So that's kind of setting up the trade and target there as well. Kohl's actually had earnings this week too. Kohl's has now traded into exactly what we wanted to see, which was an explosive move. Didn't want to take the risk because of the explosive move on an overnight trade, but now it's paused. Now it's paused for 2 days, and Kohl's is giving us an opportunity to get involved again. The electric vehicle stocks that we've been trading, XPEV and NIO, I like them both long again here today, and actually starting to initiate a new swing trade. But again, building it in pieces, because now if you're in the community and you understand, we're reading the tape, and I've been mentioning this, these EV stocks, which now have just electric vehicle stocks that have had earnings, the tape has changed a little bit. It's not vicious buying every day where you can't do anything wrong, similar to the solar stocks about a month and a half ago. So now that the tape has changed, we need to adjust how we get in there. So again, we work the orders, looking for follow through, get the smart money feedback, and then we start to add the position. PDD is another one that's been on our radar this week. We actually traded into what we call a swing low yesterday. We're looking to initiate a new swing trade here. Micron was actually called out by Nasir Khan, one of our newer members in the community yesterday. And I actually like the idea. If we zoom out a little bit here, and I don't mean to sound like I'm surprised on that. I'm actually happy that the community is calling out good trades. You can see that we're kind of stuck here at the 62 level, which is fine because we're pausing at a level that matters. And what we actually have now is this is a really clean bull flag after a bullish gap, and now it's pausing there. So we're looking to initiate our first piece of this trade over 62 at this point. Last two are CVX and ExxonMobil. The energy stocks have been on fire for the last 4 to 6 weeks, maybe a little bit longer than that. Both of them traded into what we call a bullish U-turn yesterday. So we actually traded low, reversed, closed above the open, closed above the previous low in the context of a strong tape, as well as the start of new bullish order flow. It's not an established trend yet, but it is a potential change of trend that went into the beginning of a change of trend, which that's important as well. If it's the first time something you can identify all that selling is now turned around, you got the first initial signs of a change of trend. So we go from downtrend to potential change of trend, where we see accumulation, which is part of tape reading, and you start to now see the first sign of new order flow. That's how you start to work the order. And the bullish U-turn that we saw yesterday would have us working the first piece in both of those stocks as well for a little bit longer term play. So we're managing some good winning trades from early in the week. We have some trades setting up for today and the following week, which will be next week if they get up to those levels. And we still have an eye on Apple. Apple 120 is the buy stop level that we're watching. At this point, though, we set an alert. I don't want to get in exactly at that price because it keeps fluttering around there. I want to now know if it gets up there, then I'll pull it up. One other one is Tesla from this week. Hopefully you participated in Tesla with us this week. We had that 460 buy stop again that we talked about. And we said we were looking to it to get up to 500, pause at 500, and then give us an entry. So we're going to keep an eye on that one today too. If you have any questions, definitely click below. If you want to join me and get all these trades in real time, gosh, click down and learn about the boot camp. I'd love to see you on the other side. If not, have a great weekend, everybody.